Right then. So good afternoon to everyone. I hope you can all hear me loud and clear. I can also see working from this end, so I shall crack on. So this is all around boosting your productivity whilst working from home, but obviously in very, very strange times now, and it's been forced on a lot of people, well, the majority of the population, that you are all suddenly working remotely. I've seen so many funny comments. I've heard stories. I've heard just ways that basically people are struggling with this. And it's also based on some results I saw beginning part of the week where almost 75% of people admitted that they're just not anywhere like as productive as they are working outside the office. In olden days, we all had time. People and businesses were able to test home working and were able to phase it in over a gradual period of time to make sure the transition was smooth for both parties. Well, right now, it's just something we haven't got the luxury of. So all I'm looking to do this afternoon is offer you some simple tips and tricks and some key steps you can use to make home working and remote working a far less stressful experience. I've broken it down into different sections, and there's also a report which I'm very happy to send to anyone. It's a simple, short PDF. Who wants this? Stay on to the end, and I will share the link. So I've broken it down into a number of different sections, the first being daily. And from a daily point of view, I will say to you that the morning routine is absolutely key. How you start your day will dictate how good a day you have. So setting alarm calls at regular, consistent times. What works for me is if I was working in an office, I would set the alarm to wake me at the same sort of time I use to go to an office. I've then got some extra time in the morning, which is my own, I can use to, catch up with other stuff as well. Drinking water is really, really important, and it's such a simple thing to forget while you're working remotely. Most offices these days have multiple water coolers, they have kitchen areas, and it's just really, really easy to forget to drink enough water, 2 or 3 liters a day. You have to think about doing so. And if you're dehydrated, you are just not going to be able to perform anywhere like as well as you could be. Next thing I talk about is meditation. Meditation is a really positive thing to get into your morning routine and help you be more productive. It's something I've had a whole change my view on it over the last few years, and something I do on a regular basis. I don't do it every single day, but I need to. But I do know that when days I do meditate, then I have a much better day. There's lots of free content out there you can use, whether it's YouTube videos or there are paid apps. I personally use something called Calm, which is available. And again, there's a link in the report. You'll be able to get a 3 month trial on that. And I find 10 to 15 minutes a day of meditation makes a big difference. Next one we've got is exercise. Obviously, it's a bit of a hot topic at the moment, but you want to be doing something to raise your heart rate level just for a few minutes at a time. 10 or 15 minutes is better than doing nothing. Now, if you're not sure what you can do, what exercises you can do, and obviously if you're confined into a certain space at the moment, look at YouTube. There's lots of free content you can use on YouTube, and you can find people's workouts. There's all sorts of names I can quote you. Or if you have got a chance, get out for a quick walk. Get out there, 10 minutes walk will make you feel better and will set you up for the rest of the day. Next, reading is great. Now, people will always say they haven't got time to read. There's no excuse at the moment. We've all got additional time. We're not traveling back and forth to offices and all that good stuff. So even if you're only reading for 10 or 15 minutes a day, you'll find that you're educating yourself. It's relaxing you. And you know what? You're going to be learning something at the same time. Breakfast. Let's talk about breakfast. Some people say breakfast is the best meal of the day, most important meal of the day. Some people don't have breakfast. What I'd say to you is, if you are normally in a routine of going into a place of work and you eat breakfast, carry that on at home. So if you are usually eating breakfast, then do so at home. If you're one of these people who doesn't eat till lunchtime, that's do the same as you're going to do, but you have more choice now if you're working from home. Next, and probably one of the most important ones, is get dressed. I've seen all different states of dress this week, some in jest and some in not, but keep it business focused. I always say, and my view is, you need to dress appropriately as if you're going to the office. So dress exactly as you're going to the office. So I've got a shirt on, I've got a pair of jeans on, this is what I normally wear, and that's the way I would be. If I'm having a really casual day and I'm not working with clients, and I will have a t-shirt on, but it's whatever works for you. But I would say the golden rule is to dress as if you're going to the office. So next, working times. Have a start time each day which is consistent, and why not think about sticking to your normal office at working hours? So if you're starting an office at 9 o'clock, start working from home at 9 o'clock. Also, you'll find that will benefit you, but also, and probably even more important, is as you start your work each day and your remote working each day, is set a time that you're going to finish working. Otherwise, the easy habit to get into is to carry on working all night, and you'll never have a break from work. So as you start work, pick a time you're going to start working each day and be as consistent as you possibly can. Things are going to happen when you're working remotely, I get it, but just try and be as consistent as you possibly can. But then also set that finishing time each day, whether it's going to be 5 o'clock, 6 o'clock, 7 o'clock, whatever time is that going to be, have a time and work towards that, so you've got the end in mind and stick to it. Otherwise, as I say, I struggle with that all the time, and it's something I have to physically set a finishing time each day. Otherwise, I'll end up working until very late into the evening. So next, moving on, let's think about your home office environment. It's great if you can do it, and you've got the luxury of doing it, of setting a consistent place you can work remotely from. If you've got the luxury of a spare room or a room that's not used very often, like a dining room, it's a perfect spot to use as your home office. Also, especially if you've got other people in the house who are also trying to work remotely, or you may have young children right now as well. So if you have the luxury of a space you can work, which is cut off from everyone else, then you're in a really strong position. If you do have young children around, I will hit this topic now. Do you have someone who's with you who can help you look after those children? Depends on the age of the children, but if they're very young children, you may want to take it in turns and do an hour on, an hour off, and take it in turns and share the workload between you both. If they are slightly older, then it's easier to entertain them or entertain themselves, and then maybe come back and check on them on an hourly basis, which is also a good way of forcing yourself to have a break. I'll talk about breaks later, but again, plan for regular breaks. For me personally, I find that working for 60 minutes at a time and breaking for 10 minutes works really, really well, but you need to experiment to find what works for you. I hear theories of other people who work for 45 minutes and take 10 or 15 minutes break, and that rounds up to 1 hour nuggets of their day. But again, just do something, try something out, see if it's working for you, review the results. Get your breaks in. And when you've got your break in, get up and move away from your physical working location. It could be that you were working from the lounge or the dining room and actually go and walk over to the kitchen and grab some water. So it's another great excuse to be drinking more water. You could always use this downtime, this break time on an hourly basis to do something that's not work related. It could be go and check your social media. If you're a bit of a social media junkie, then it's a great time to do it. But all I'd say to you is set yourself a reminder, set an alarm for 5 or 10 minutes time. As the next thing you'll know, you'll be on there for an hour. So if you're going to check your social media, and I would recommend not doing it every single hour, maybe do it a couple of times a day in the working day, set yourself a timer so that you are on there, then you also know you need to come off there, because it's too easy to carry on smashing into social media. Plan your day, and as you're setting your day at the beginning of each morning, is set 3 goals that you're going to achieve that day. Those are going to be the most important things you need to get done, and those are the things you've got to do before you finish and log off that day. So we know what time you're going to finish working, work backwards from that, and make sure you're achieving those goals in between. And as I've said already, personally, I find the break every hour for 10 minutes works really, really well. So that's the office environment. So let's talk about your work setup now. So try and find a comfortable chair and one that you can adjust, because you're going to be sat in this chair for longer periods of time. If you're video conferencing, then you can't physically get up and move around on a regular basis. But if you're on a telephone call, then get up and walk around this environment you've got. If you don't have a decent, appropriate office type chair, most people don't at home, using something like a dining room chair and then maybe adding a cushion or two. If you are doing that, it's a bit of a compromise. So make sure that you are keeping moving around on this hourly basis and keep moving your back and moving your hips and stuff. Otherwise, you may start getting backache. Posture, the best way to work and best for your posture is to work from a desk. So using a desk, if you haven't got a home desk, you're not lucky enough to do it, then using something like a kitchen table to work from. It's going to make you much more productive than having a laptop on your lap. IKEA sell a range of low-cost desks which are out there for well under £100, but I imagine in the current times that's not an option for you, so just find something that can work with. I've even seen people over the last few days using suitcases, balancing with boxes on top that they use from work. If that makes it a desk that's appropriate for you and it works, then great. Also, books. Books are amazing to adjust the height of a laptop or a laptop screen, or even any monitors that you've got. If it's a bit of a temporary fix that you've created a home working environment on the fly, then books are great at adjusting the height and getting the optimum working conditions for you. So I've just mentioned it there. Having access to a separate monitor is really, really useful, and it will increase your productivity a heck of a lot. Not everyone has the luxury of having an additional monitor, and I can understand at the moment they're going to be quite short, small supply. But if you're working from a laptop, which might have anything from a 12 to a 14 to a 15 to maybe an 18-inch screen, it's not always the best for your eyes and for your physical productivity. So having multiple screens means that you're not having to flick between multiple applications that are on the same page. And also, if you are using online conferencing, as I've referenced already, they come into their own having multiple screens. My setup here is I've got a couple of screens going, plus I've got the screen on my laptop ready to use that as well. So I've mentioned online conferencing. There are a multitude of solutions that you can be using. Some are paid and some are free. I will say to you, just because they're free doesn't mean they're not very good. So explore online conferencing tools and find one that you're happy with and works for you. If you are working for a business, this would normally be dictated by them, and they'll be choosing a solution that's appropriate for the business. But if you're not, I personally use Skype and Zoom. I use Zoom for video conferencing, and I use Skype for using calls. My reception, mobile reception at my home is not particularly great, but I find that by using a Skype, you can do voice over IP, and I can call landlines globally. The calls are very, very low cost, and also the quality is very, very good. But again, I'll have further information about this in the home working guide. So you need to think then about using some decent headphones and a microphone when you're using online conferencing. It will improve the sound quality for everyone, but also help you to be able to hear clearly. A lot of majority of them these days will have noise cancelling, which obviously is pretty good to use. Headphones that come in the majority of smartphones are perfectly acceptable, or you may decide you want to upgrade to Bluetooth ones if you're feeling fancy, and also it will stop you being restricted so that you can't move around, you're restricted to the length of the headphone wire. And often you can pick up perfectly good sets of Bluetooth headphones off Amazon and places like that in normal times at around £20, $20. Next, you want to look at your webcam. So you've got your microphone, you've got your headphones sorted out. Is now look at your webcam. Now, the vast majority of laptops have been available for a long, long time, have a decent or a fairly adequate webcam installed on them, which is perfectly fine for occasional use. If you are going to be home working or remote working for a period of time on a more regular basis, you may look at upgrading your external upgrading to an external webcam that you're going to use and give you better results. Personally, I find that Logitech cameras are pretty good, and again, you can spend anything from £20 or $20, anything up to £150 or dollars. Do you need to spend more than that? It's up to you. It depends on how much you're using that for. This one I'm using today is a Logitech. It was about £80, £90, maybe about a year and a half ago, and records at 1080p, so the quality is pretty decent. So we've ticked all those boxes. Now you need to think about your lighting. Lighting is going to be really, really important for you. You want to get some sunlight during your working day, but also the sunlight may cause you a problem as it moves throughout the day. Right now, if I've got the blinds open, the sun will be coming straight through my eyes and you're about to see me, so I've got complete blackout out on here. But also, if you're using online conferencing yourself, you want to make sure that the light for you isn't too bright or the room isn't too dark. There's an optimum in the middle of all that. Try and avoid direct sunlight on your face as you'll appear like a ghost to everyone else. If you have upgraded your webcam over a period of time, often you'll find these are bundled with a whole range of suite of software, and often one of these software suites will automatically control the light levels, so it's done pretty much automatically on an optimum basis for you, which is great. So we've got all that done. Now think about your background surroundings. What is behind you? What's visible? What can people see that's around you? So mine, as you can see, is pretty dull. It is like a pale green color. But it works for me. I also work with a wall directly behind me, so I haven't got any children, anyone in the house walking behind me, or dogs, or that kind of thing. But you want to be thinking about, especially if you're working from your kitchen table, is that what people can see behind you? Do you have a pile of dirty dishes or washing basket on view? Because people are going to judge you based on what they can see and looking at your house. Procrastination. Turn off all distractions, and this will help you focus and will avoid procrastination. If appropriate, turn your smartphones on to silent, also your tablets, and don't forget things like smartwatches. TV, radio, podcasts can also be really distracting to you, but you need to find a balance that works for you. Personally, I will often work with the radio on or a podcast in the background on quite a low level, and I find that works with a pair of headphones on. And I know a lot of people find that listening to some background music will help them having a headset on as well, which means they can block out all the sound around them and increases productivity in turn. So next, let's move on to email. Avoid sitting in your email inbox whilst you're working. If you're doing this, you'll constantly never get anything done because you'll always be constantly clearing your email. And as you're clearing one email out of your list, you're probably getting your inbox, you're probably getting 2 or 3 new ones coming through. It's a constant battle for you. So what I would say to you is schedule some time to drop into your inbox and clear your emails on a periodic basis. You may decide to do this on an hourly basis. This may be the first thing you do when you come back off your hourly break, or you may just do it a couple of times a day. Or if you're really brave, you might only check it once a day. Check your email once a day, and what you'll find, it makes you much more productive, but do what's appropriate for you. Personally, I prefer to batch my emails, which basically means that I'm clearing all my emails in one go, and I do it once a day or every couple of days. By doing that one same task in one go, it means that I am much more productive, and it means that I can also clear my emails in a matter of minutes, as opposed to being in over a period of hours by working them constantly. So I've touched on social media already, but let's talk about social media again. It is and can be a massive distraction. I personally think you should restrict your access to it, and you really need to, if you are going to check it, it's when you do check it. It could be an hourly basis, or it could be less frequent, which is even better. But the most important thing here is set yourself a reminder when you are going to come off that. So checking social media is fine, but just remind yourself you need to get off there again, as you would have lost an hour or 2 of your day. The whole aim of social media, the whole purpose of them being there, is to make it as addictive as they possibly can, to keep us on their sites as long as they possibly can. Drag yourself off within a given time frame as well. You will find that by focusing on working 1 hour periods of time and then taking these short breaks, you will reduce your procrastination massively. You will find that your brain stops procrastinating because it knows it's going to have to do some focused time, but then also it's going to have a break. But if you do find yourself procrastinating, and we all do from time to time, it's just recognize the fact you're doing it and then get back onto your focused work as quick as you possibly can. So procrastination, we've moved on from that. So I recommend that you schedule regular hangouts with colleagues, but also speak to and maintain contact even with any people, are key workers in your business or line managers. Having these regular drop-in sessions so you can socialize with these people. It could be a 10-minute Zoom call where you're seeing someone face-to-face, having a quick catch-up, discussing how your day's going. It's an extremely powerful way to maintain motivation and keeping you focused. So you've done all this and you're working productively. Remember that you've now set a time to finish your working day. You've got your position, you've got your equipment ready, you've got your location ready. We've set a finishing time, so make sure you've set an alarm, make sure you've set a reminder, and you're sticking to your finishing time. This is where it's a real benefit if you have got the luxury of a spare room or another room you can use. It means that you can physically close the door behind that working space at the end of the day. You can relax, unwind, and switch off. If you haven't got the luxury and you are firstly working from a kitchen table, or for example, you're working from the lounge, then what I'd highly recommend you do is totally clear the office away until the next day. Otherwise, if there are any bits and pieces of work paraphernalia around, you will find it will eat into your time and means that you can't switch off from. And that's all the daily stuff. So next, I would suggest you start setting yourself on a weekly basis. You set yourself with 3 larger goals that you're going to achieve for the week. So you're breaking your goals down into a daily basis with 3 goals you're going to achieve on a day. But then over the week, you're setting 3 larger goals you're going to achieve for a week. And as you can see, everything I've been talking about, it's about getting yourself into a routine as quick as you possibly can. Same as just thinking yourself back into a work routine when you're going to a physical office location. The quicker you get into this routine, the quicker you'll be able to adapt to the new way of working, and maybe even you'll find you'll become more productive than you were previously. I have more information available for you, which is in a simple PDF report. If you'd like access to this, I will show you now a screen where you can go and get that from, which is here. This is the page you need to be going to. Get onto there. All I'm asking for is your email address, and you will get your PDF report very, very quickly. If you have any further questions or you would like further information, there's an email address you can use to get in contact with us there. It's very, very simple. It's information or info@minervagrowth.co.uk. And that's it. I hope you found this information useful for you. Grab your free report. And as I've said, if you want any further information, please get in contact.